Hey everybody, my name is David Michael,
And I'm Michael Carter.
and we are
Ridiculously bored.
All right, welcome back, Michael. Episode number 24. How are you doing this fine Sunday? I guess it is.
I am well. I also am smart enough to know that I'm not going to stand in the way of a man who just got back from Vegas and maybe some stories he has from there. So I am going to turn it over to you. How was Vegas?
Well, let's just say that the old adage is correct. Some things just have to stay in Vegas. But I will say this, financially, it was a very good trip.
Okay, that's good. You going to buy another RV now?
No, but a significant amount of revenue was made on this. A significant amount of profit was made on this trip. Let's just put it that way. I was on fire. So was the wife. Actually, we were both on fire at the blackjack tables. And you know me. After I win a hand, my betting strategy is to increase my bet until I lose, and then I kind of go back down to whatever my original bet was. And I was counting, and the table was counting too, because we had one of those really good, like loud and like, rowdy tables. Mostly me, but there were some other folks on there that were pretty rowdy. At one point in time, I won 12 hands in a row.
Wow.
And during that 12-hand streak, like I said, I'm increasing my bet the entire time. There were 4 opportunities to split and or double down.
And that's where you make your money. If you hit on those, that's where you make your money.
So, and I hit every one of them. So it was a good night. I mean, I even won at roulette. It was just one of those weekends where I just felt like I couldn't lose.
So you remembered that I had $100 in with you, right? So
no, I did not remember that part. Did we talk about that last weekend? Is it on video? Oh, it's not. Video. I guess it didn't happen.
Can you teach? Side note, unrelated. Can you teach me how to edit something in afterwards?
Ironically, YouTube will not let you if you like. You can't edit a video. Like you can't like fix something once it's live. You have to either pull it down and upload a new one. Whereas like some other platforms, you can actually like fix it after the fact. Nope.
Yeah, and as you know, as you said, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But when it comes to the internet, once you put it up there, that shit's up there for good. Whether you take it down or not, that shit's up there for good.
It is up there for good. The other thing I wanted to say, the people watching this weekend was absolutely fantastic. And you are like the quintessential people watcher who notices everything going on around him. You would have had a fantastic time in Vegas because I don't know if it was the less expensive flights because Vegas is just kind of reopening. I mean, they've been open for a while, but so we're there Friday and it was either Thursday or Friday. I asked the pit boss why some people weren't wearing masks. And he said, well, the governor just announced that as of 2 p.m. today, if you've been vaccinated, it's optional.
Yeah,
so I went,
okay. If you've been vaccinated, wink, because they don't check.
Right. I'm like, so how do you guys know if people have been vaccinated? He's like, well, legally, we're not allowed to ask, so we don't. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I've been vaccinated, so it's not a big deal. So I'm like, rip, mask off. All right, let's go, Vegas.
That's good. That's great.
The other thing was, like I was saying, like they just opened up. Like I think flights to Vegas, I drive, but flights to Vegas are pretty inexpensive. And we got comped our room because I guess we gambled too much last time we were there, right? So the hotels are throwing money at, people to come to town.
Well, they're just trying to get bodies in the place, period.
Yeah, and I get it. I mean, it's their lifeblood, right? But there was just a lot of interesting people that was, shit show of a weekend as far as like the people watching was concerned. We even went down to Old Town by like, the Fremont Street experience where like the Four Queens and the Golden Nugget and all the old hotels were. And I had never been there before and it was insane. I mean,
you've never
people
been
walking
down there
around.
at all?
No, of the 30 plus years we've been going to Vegas, I've never been down to Old Town.
Because I was relatively sure we went down for your graduation. Like I think that Fremont Street thing I've only looked at once. So for people who don't go to Vegas, there is the newer fangled ones that you see in the movies with like Brad Pitt, which are like the Bellagio and movies like that. And then there's what's now defined as Old Vegas. That's the shit that's been around for 50 or 60 years. And they've turned over some of those buildings, but it's still relatively old. That's the one where you see in like all the movies and where it's like a lot of the neon and the lights and all that kind of stuff. That's down there. So I'm surprised that you've never been down there at all.
Yeah, it's actually I mean, pretty shocking. I agree because I've been to Vegas for forever, and so we walked the whole Fremont Street experience, and it was like Mardi Gras. Like people, there was thousands of people on the
Hmm.
streets. Two, everybody seemed to have one of those like yard drinks, you know, where they give you like the big like hurricane or whatever the popular drink of the week
In
is
the
in a
science tube or
massive
whatever the hell
glass.
it's called, right?
Yeah, even they even had like the guitar ones. It was like a guitar. People had it around their neck, and they had a straw at the end of it that they were drinking from the the neck. So it was just really interesting people watching.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you probably had a mix of all different things. One, stuff starting to open up. I know out there you have nicer weather than the East Coast, but the weather's starting to get a little nicer. People are willing to fly again, so it's like, and all those different factors. And hopefully, like you said, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and hopefully that includes the COVID and the clap. Hopefully, you didn't bring either of those home.
The clap. Your voice sounds really hoarse. You've been sucking a lot of dick this week. How was your week?
See, I was in Vegas for a different reason. No, I don't know. Yeah, I can feel it though. It's probably the allergies
Yeah.
that are bothering me. But like, out here, you might as well suck a plant stick because we moved some chairs today on the deck, which we haven't moved in a while. And there is it's like a crime scene of pollen, how much is on the deck. So we were out there today for a while. So that probably played into it. We were out there yesterday, late last night as well. It's just crazy. Like the allergies have been the worst it's been. And, growing up, I didn't really suffer from allergies. My old roommate, El Guapo, used to every day was like 10 minutes of blowing his nose in the morning. It's like fucking
That's me.
scarred me, that sound of
Yeah.
him just blowing his nose, trying to clear his brains out because he was so backed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I can feel it myself. So if anybody wants to comment on that, it was not dick sucking, as David suggested.
Nobody likes a spitter.
I'm not against it if there's a little bit of cash involved. I'm just saying, but that did not happen. So Vegas, I'm going to keep asking stories. I'm going to pepper in a little of my own, see if you talk about anything. So I don't know if you remember, maybe it's probably about 10 years ago now. You have a friend that comes out with us who he is somebody who's made a lot of money over his life. He's bought companies, built companies, sold companies, moved on to the next one, kind of that serial entrepreneur type thing. So he's always had a lot of money.
He's made and lost millions.
Right.
Like literally was a millionaire, was broke. Was a millionaire, was broke.
Right. So he has come out with us a couple times where he meets up with us and he gets us access to some places we normally wouldn't be able to go. And there was one time where we went to dinner at a place and then we went to the club that was above it. And this was like just when iPhones were rolling out. And the guy takes out his iPhone and jokingly, to be fair to him, he didn't actually do it. There were some girls in really, really short skirts dancing on, I think it was steps is what it was. So you could see, basically, you looked up, you could see, I see Paris, I see France type thing. You could see her underwear. And so he jokingly took out his phone to take a photo and we got fucking kicked out of the place. And we had just relatively gotten there. We had just found a place to hang out.
5 minutes,
yeah,
maybe.
We got kicked out. The only time in my life where I've ever been kicked out faster was I got kicked out before I was allowed into a place. It was for my cousin Nostril's 21st birthday. And so this makes it worse because it wasn't just his 21st birthday, but it was like he told everybody to meet at this bar because it was his 21st birthday. And Hot Chocolate always says to me when we go to a place and we try to get a table, they're like half an hour wait. He's always like, why don't you do that thing that either they'll immediately find us a table because the person thinks you're hilarious, or they ask us to leave. So I was joking around with the bouncers and they took it the wrong way. And so they started yelling at me. I started yelling back. And, I did the old thread of, oh, do you know another bar I can go to in New York City? Like, is that possible? Is there another one I can choose? And so now he rolls up on me. He rolls up on me and El Guapo is standing next to me. El Guapo he's a lover. He's not a fighter, right? But to be fair to him, everybody else backed away from this and he just stood there. Plays out for the next few minutes. I'm yelling at them. They're yelling at me. Eventually they're like, you know what? Just get the fuck out of here. You're not allowed in here. So we got kicked out before we got in. We turn around to see the rest of our party. All those bitches left. So they weren't there just in case things go down. They just like walked away. Like, I don't know him. I'm with this party back here. Like those three guys back there. So El Guapo says to me, I just want to point out that I stayed. He's like, we would have got our asses kicked. He's like, but I stayed. He's like, I just want to point that out to you. So what else happened in Vegas?
Oh,
That you can talk about.
I will tell you this. We were hanging out at the pool on Saturday, and I decided to imbibe with a fruity drink, and it was like some sort of like a watermelon cooler. To be honest, I had like my standard, like I don't remember what it was. I had something, right? And some rum drink, and then my wife got this watermelon cooler, and I had a sip of it, and I'm like, damn, that's way better than my drink. So next round, I go and I buy two of those. Well, the fucking thing comes with a quarter of a watermelon sticking out of the glass, right? And I'm like, there's no way I'm walking around with two fucking cups with these big watermelons, right? So I take the watermelon and I dunk it in my drink. I drink some of it off the top and I dunk it in there so that it's like hidden. So anyways, we get into the pool and of course everyone's like, dude, what kind of drink is that? What kind of drink is that? What kind of drink is that? And at this point, it becomes a freaking joke, right? So we ended up chatting with this couple that was sitting next to us. And the dude looks at me and he goes, by the way, that was a really smart move, dunking the watermelon in the drink. He's like, I saw that. He's like, that was brilliant. He totally called me on it. He's like, I know what you're doing there.
So I was right. It was swingers. That's what ended up happening. So do you know, was the watermelon already pre-soaked and stuff?
I don't think so. I don't think so. No, I think I ate the watermelon afterwards. And
because you can get
super
fucking rocked off fruit and vegetables and shit like that that's been sitting in alcohol. Like surprisingly so. I always tell the story. Big Daddy once got blasted on 4 cherries that was like sitting in some gin or something. And he was bullshitting with his father-in-law and he had just a couple of these cherries. And the rest of the night he was fucking spinning. He's like, so I drank, all I had was 4 cherries.
When I was in a fraternity, we would have poolside parties at our apartment complex. And we would make one of those big Igloo coolers. And it was basically Kool-Aid powder and Everclear. Right. And then what we do is we'd buy every fruit. Everclear is green alcohol. It's like
the Natty Light of hard alcohol.
No, it's like 90 something percent proof. It's like mostly like pure alcohol and very little anything else. And someone will have to check me on that. But Everclear is some nasty shit. But if you have it in a sweet enough drink, you don't taste it. Right. So what we do is we'd get this big Igloo cooler and we'd fill it up with, 4 or 5 bottles of Everclear and then throw a bunch of ice, throw a bunch of Kool-Aid mix in it. And then we would throw every fruit that was available at the supermarket in season, whatever, part of the year it was. Right. And we would just chop them up and throw them in there. And it was like after an hour, it was this like amazing fruit punch that you could not tell that there was any alcohol in it. Anyways, the bad part about it is at the end of the night, after most people had gone home, a lot of the brothers would kind of like sit around and watch some of the sorority women or whomever, the females were at the party. And they would look at the ones that were eating the fruit and they would like plan the rest of their night based upon who was eating the fruit and who wasn't. I'm like, guys, that's fucking horrible.
The original #me too.
Yeah. I did not partake in that. Yeah. Just want you to know.
Anything else you want to talk about Vegas before we move on?
No, I think we should move on.
All right, great. And we need to plan the annual trip this year at some point.
Yes,
we'll do
we
that.
do. In fact, that's all I thought about when I was out there was like, it's like Vegas is open. Let's
be honest. All you thought while you were out there was, man, this would be more fun with Michael than my wife.
No, that's not true, honey. I swear it's not true.
We'll edit it out where you said it was. That's fine. She'll never know.
Right. You're a dick.
So this week, as you know, I started working out, got a personal trainer last couple weeks.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Did 3 sessions, already needed a cortisone shot in my shoulder.
What were you doing when you tweaked it?
So the actual pain just hit. So what I think happened is a couple things. And I believe I talked the story about when I fell down the stairs about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So that I think was one piece. The second piece was just doing more physical stuff in the gym that I've never done.
Well, because you live a sedentary lifestyle.
Yes, and I'm an accountant, so basically everything is more physical than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
And I did boxing. So the guy
Nice.
mixes things up. So I did boxing. So I'm
So did you
guessing
tell him like my buddy wants to fight me, so I need you to incorporate boxing into the mix?
no, no, yeah, that's what I'm learning. I need self defense. Trust me. No, because it's one of the things he does. Like one week you do kind of boxing, and one session you do boxing, the next session you do like all the machines and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's good.
So I actually loved the boxing. Got home that night, didn't feel any pain, nothing
Mhm.
bothered me. Got into bed, tried to turn, pain. Next morning, more pain. 2 days later, more pain. So I'm like, fuck, I gotta go to the doctor. So I went. They did a X-ray. Thankfully, he's like, well, nothing's broken. He's like, did all these different moves. He's like, it's not the rotator cuff.
Was it
He's
just
like,
one side?
yeah, it's just the right shoulder, and like basically right where the ball socket is. So I was worried that it was rotator cuff. So he did these tests, and he's like, no, it's not a rotator cuff. Like you wouldn't be
Tommy
able to do
John.
A, B, and C if it was a rotator cuff. So he's like, jerk off. Let me see that motion too. No, he didn't say that. So he's like, well, here's your options. And he gave me some. And I'm like, doc, it is so fucking painful that you said the cortisone shot will give me faster relief to start and then it'll heal on its own. So I'm like, I got to do that. So he did that. About 24 hours later, like everybody says, I've heard a couple people who've gotten cortisone shots. They're like 24 hours later, you start feeling better. And it was almost to the minute from when he did the shot, 24 hours later, where the pain started subsiding enough where it's like, now it's 2 days after the shot. I don't really feel it. I don't think about it. I'm still cautious because I don't want to get hurt again, but it's just crazy. Like, you try to get healthy and that's what
Yeah.
fucking, I'm going to die from that.
So, well, yeah. I mean, the difference between like the lactic acid buildup pain is, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like a soreness that's like all over the place versus this. It sounds like that was like very specifically
Yeah,
in one place.
the boxing instructor, my words, he milks me afterwards. He makes me do these certain moves that helps reduce the lactic acid in your
Mhm.
body. So he helps with that as well. But no,
Well, that's
it
the
was
worst
not
part
that.
of working out.
Yeah.
I mean, that being sore a day or 2 days later, if you haven't done it in a while, is like that's like more painful than the actual process of working
Yes.
out.
And I've had that in my arms a little bit. I remember once I was helping my cousin Nostrils was redoing his backyard, and we were shoveling, in essence, a mound of dirt from like basically from the left to the right, moving it over and stuff. The next day, my arms were on fire from that like repetitive motion that was happening for 10 hours or however long we were doing it. So randomly, I saw a commercial this week, and this also goes, second part is, one of the things I worry about with raising the kids is, as I've heard somebody say on a different show, the pussification of the US, right? We raise our kids, they're softer, everybody gets a medal, everybody was a participant, all those kind of things.
Right.
So I'll talk about the what I saw now, and then we'll talk about what they were when we were kids. So I saw these lawn darts, which are like, in essence, Nerf-based lawn darts that have this big padded thing in front of it. And you go set up a ring, 10, 20 feet away, and you throw them into it like you would when we were kids.
Right.
Do you remember the lawn darts when we were a kid?
They were like solid, like bocce ball type heavy, like
And
I don't even
fucking
know what they
metal
were.
tips.
They were metal. Okay, yeah. I
Yeah.
remember they were heavy. Like if you got hit, it was one of those things you were hurting for a while.
And those are things where you stand around because you want to get the best view. So I was like, man, this is a perfect example. Look, I don't think we should be using the old darts. Don't get me wrong, right? Lead-based paint should be gone for a reason, that kind of thing, right? So I get why they had to move to it,
I
but
don't know though. Look, bocce ball is still a thing, and those fucking things weigh like 10 pounds a piece.
yeah, but you're not careening them through the air where they're starting to come on a downward trajectory towards your, in essence, victim.
Have you seen me play bocce ball before?
Well, if you think you're shot putting, you're doing it wrong.
There's a couple of really interesting new like lawn family games. I've seen one, it's called Spike Ball.
No.
And basically it's in essence like a tennis ball and like a little trampoline in the middle. And it's like a 2-on-2 type game where you have to like, hit the ball onto the trampoline and then it's the other team's turn to get it. And you kind of like space yourselves out so that you can like get anywhere around this trampoline. So the trick is to kind of like fake people out and try and look like you're going to hit it one way and then hit it another. So it's kind of a silly little game, but it just, I watched a few folks play it, and then I'm like, all right, do I want to get that? Throw it in the RV. Maybe it's something that we can do. And then like 2 a.m. one night, I'm like scrolling through the TV channels, and I see like a professional spike ball
Oh my
tournament,
God.
and I'm like, oh man,
It's shit like that. Like,
it's like the
frisbee,
cornhole tournaments.
yeah,
Have you seen
frisbee
like the
football.
cornhole
I
tournaments?
played at a cornhole tournament once.
Did you really?
Big Daddy signed up for one for a charity thing, and he needed a partner. And he's like, "Will you play?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" I'm like, "I don't give a shit." So he's like, "All right." He's like, "Just so you know," he's like, "I want to tell you in advance. There's going to be people there who bring their own bean bags."
Yeah.
He's like,
Oh,
"There's people who
it's
are
a
ranked."
big deal.
I'm like, "What the fuck? It's supposed to be some charity event." So thankfully, what they did actually is they separated us into two groups: people who do this shit for who are professionals at it, professionals, and if you're watching on YouTube in brackets, professionals, and then everybody else. So you didn't get smoked in the first round or two. But
Right.
yeah, people like it's funny, like you see it with darts. And I guess it's one of those things with darts, regular like wall darts, that
Mhm.
it's been around for so long, those things, that I don't think it's weird anymore, right? Where you're at a bar and somebody fucking open up the case and they have their own darts. But things like slam ball, what is it
Spike
called?
ball.
Spike ball,
Spike ball. Yeah.
football, frisbee football, whatever it's called.
Or frolf, as
Yeah.
George Costanza used to call it.
The
Frisbee
hacky
golf.
sack, like all those type things that are now sports. It's just like, yeah, they need a lawn dart in the neck.
Anything that's going to be on ESPN 8, the Ocho at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Do you know that about once a year, ESPN actually calls themselves the Ocho as like,
Do they really?
yeah,
That's amazing. That was from what,
poking fun at
Dodgeball?
themselves from Dodgeball. Yeah, it's a great
Yeah.
movie.
So
If you
that
haven't watched it,
movie,
people, watch it. Great movie.
yeah, that movie made fun of like all of these. I mean, encompassing all of these kind of like, tertiary sports that are around there. But I mean, come on. I mean, some of these sports are ridiculous. And no offense to anyone that plays cornhole professionally, but come on, don't call that a sport.
No,
That's
no,
not a sport.
take offense. It's not a sport. So going back to the pussification, my daughter just told me this week in school they can't play dodgeball, so they play dodge bowling. So what they do is you throw a ball at these pins because you can't throw it at somebody else.
Yeah, see, that's not so. I did a video shoot 3 weeks ago for a private school. They wanted to do a TV ad, and I did a video shoot for them. And I one of the things that we had planned to do was shoot the one of the PE classes, and they were playing full on dodgeball, and I was filming full on people getting whacked in the head. It wasn't the original like, those big red like rubber balls that we used to play with, but there was some pretty decent like Nerf dodgeballs that people were throwing at each other. So I was pretty
old
impressed.
rubber balls, and I'm not even making a ball joke here. There is no sound in the world that is so clear that somebody just took it in the face. That whoosh, that it does off their faces and then it bounces away.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, kids will never again understand what it was like growing up at our age.
Maybe we'll have to teach them. Bring them out back and be like,
I feel like in 20 years, my kids are going to be like, man, the controllers that I used to have only had 4 buttons on it. You guys will never know what it was like to grow up when I was a kid.
and then I'll tell them, Google Atari joystick thumb.
Yeah.
You see the blisters on it. Cover your
One
eyes because
button,
it's not going to
yeah.
be pretty. All right. So one crazy question. I stumbled across this question. I thought it was just a fun, stupid question. So if animals could talk, which would be the rudest?
The rudest. I feel like cats are just son of a bitches. And I know you have 2 cats, so you can add a little bit to this conversation. But man, cats do the freaking rudest shit. Like smack people in the head when they're walking by if you get too close. Or if you have long hair around a cat, it's like an instant like play toy.
Yeah, cats do not give a shit if you're in the room. My 2 cats, they were fighting the other day. I had this video. I don't know if I still have it, but one of them is more aggressive. So I have 2 cats, Willow and Gretzky. Willow is a lot more aggressive. So much so that she cornered Gretzky in her little cat house, and she's fucking jumping on top of it, basically shaking it, a cat's version of shaking it, that eventually she pushed her so much that eventually I just see this one fist come out of the cat house and punch Willow right in the face, which I was like, that's awesome. But yeah, cats. I thought of one. I think for some reason raccoons. I think they would
Yeah.
be, they're little criminals of the world, and they have those
Mhm.
hands, right? So it's creepy enough as it is.
And they stand up and
Yeah,
stare at you. Yeah.
I think those guys would be little bastards. I really do, and I think they would not give a shit what you thought or what you were doing. They were like, "This is what we're doing. This is how it's going down." And then I thought of another one, which I just think is that wah wah. I think giraffes would be because they'd always be looking down on you.
There's a really good video. I can't remember if I saw it on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, but it's at night and somebody's filming through their back door and where they have like their trash bins, and a bunch of raccoons walk by, and it's light enough so that you can see the raccoons. And then one of them stands up and then turns around and stares at the camera, like with its arms by its side, like stands up, like it's like, yo, you got a beef? Like, come at me, bro.
That's so cool.
And then like just like proceeds to like walk away. It was, I don't know if it was faked or not, but it looked fucking funny as hell.
Yeah, well, one thing you got, if it's light enough out, usually if raccoons are out and it's light enough, it means they have rabies. So
You got any fact and a falsehood stories for
I
us
do.
today?
All right.
All right.
So 2. Ready?
Yep.
1,
Said it.
I've peed in a sink. 2, I had to pee on my own hand because I got bit by a jellyfish in Australia.
Well, you don't get bitten by jellyfish. You do get
stung,
stung,
stung.
though. Yeah.
Again, he's not going to be right or wrong based on the technicality like this. I'm
no,
not
but I'm just
fucking
saying
Steve
that
Irwin.
these are 2 additional things that are easily something that you would do.
Go ahead. What is the question?
Where was the sink?
So the sink was at Big Daddy's old house where he grew up in the basement, which also, side note, unrelated to the rest of the story, his brother had the biggest stash of porn magazines next to you, Hefner. It has to be next to you, Hefner, but that's unrelated.
Unrelated.
And they had like a slop sink in the basement. And instead of going upstairs, they're just like, just fucking pee in the sink. So it got to a point where everybody just peed in the sink instead of going upstairs.
Interesting. Yeah, see, that's a tough one. And I'll explain why in a second. So the second one was you got stung in Australia. So I already know where it is. Was that it had to have been at a beach because it wouldn't have been at a pool.
Yeah, it was at a
Let's
pool.
think. Yeah.
I'll poke holes in that story really easily. It was at a pool,
I
and
here's the
jellyfish
thing
jumped out of me.
is I think that's the false story, because the reason why, which is why I'm like not even going to ask questions about it, because I happen to know that you prefer to go to urinate not in a urinal but actually in the stall, because I don't know what you do, but you've always had this thing about not going in the urinal. Every time we go to Vegas, every time we go to the bathroom, you go straight to a stall when you have to pee. So I'm going to say you did not pee in a sink.
All right. So wait a minute. Hold on here for a minute. I think that's fine. That's your guess. You just said, I know where the jellyfish.
I meant, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I meant to say that one. Yeah, I don't think you peed in a sink.
Okay. I think you're saying the same thing, but the truth is, I peed in the sink.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's so not you, though.
Because you could wash your hands. So now I need to defend myself. The reason why I go into a stall is, and again, this is more information than people need, but I'll say it the easiest way is I'm not Jewish. Well, let's just leave it at that. And so if you go in the stall, it allows
By the way, that's not only a Jewish thing.
Yeah, it allows you to kind of wipe yourself down a little bit better. So that's why I go into those stalls. I use a urinal if I absolutely have to, but I don't. I'd rather not.
Yeah, I've never in my entire life seen you use a urinal.
It's usually because either the shitters are all full, so I can't go stand in there, or it's just something like that. That'd be the only thing. But
so,
yeah, no.
I could envision you going into the stall and then peeing on your hand because you got stung by a jellyfish. I can totally envision that.
So the peeing on my hand, I don't even touch food. I can't imagine just fucking peeing on my hand, even though I know it's supposed to help the situation, but I can't imagine doing it.
But if something hurt enough, I could totally see you doing that. You'd be like, oh, fuck, I'll try anything.
Possibly. Because like I say, when I hurt my back a couple of years ago, I literally was at a point where before the surgery, the pain was so bad. So like the shoulder this time hurt. It was just an annoyance more than crippling. When I hurt my back, the doctor could have offered me anything and I would have tried it. He could have been like, look, I just ground up this rattlesnake. I'm going to stick my hand up your ass and jam the whole ashes of it up there. Is that all right? I would have been like, Doc, fucking try it if that's going to make the pain go away. So like that's how bad it was at that time.
Yeah, I could see that.
So, all right. Did you get any guess the movie, describe a movie badlies ready?
I did. All right. Do you have one?
I do.
All right. Want me to go first?
Sure.
All right. I don't think you know this about me, but this is actually in my list of probably top 5 or 10 favorite movies. So that'll give you a little bit of a hint. No. Engineer takes almost 90 years to get to the other side of his daughter's bedroom.
Engineer takes 90 years to get the other side of his daughter's bedroom. I wish I saw Benjamin Button. I haven't.
It's not that.
So I'm going to guess it's got to be some kind of time traveling movie. Back to the Future.
No, it is a time traveling movie, though. Actually, technically, it's not a time travel movie. Well, I guess you could argue that. Interstellar. If you haven't seen Interstellar, it's one of my favorite. It's not really. I guess it's science fiction, obviously, but so much of that movie was based on everything we knew about the world, the galaxy, at the universe at that point in time. For example, there are scenes where, they're orbiting a solar system and they, get too close to a black hole and it messes with time. And, what appears to be 5 minutes for them is actually like 40 years back on Earth. And there's all that stuff was based on a lot of Einstein's theory of relativity and a lot of the equations that came out of that whole era. So I just love that movie. I mean, there's that one scene where they're on one of the water planet and they only want to be there for like 10 minutes because that's going to be like 20 some odd years or something like that. And they ended up getting stuck there because something happened and for longer than they had imagined. And they were there for like 40 minutes and it ended up screwing up the whole timeline. So just stuff like that is based on fact. And it absolutely amazes me.
Well, that's a Christopher Nolan movie. And I love that guy. Like Memento is a fucking mind fuck right from the word go. Inception is, there's still times now where I'm like, was it spinning? Wasn't spinning. Was spinning? Wasn't spinning.
Yeah.
Like all of his movies are like that. And look, I know Batman's are the ones that he got his big fame and notoriety for, but all those other movies that he's done are fucking phenomenal. So, I'm a huge fan of his. I've seen that movie. All right. Mine is 2 guys reminisce about their mother, Martha.
2 guys.
And the best part is this movie is terrible.
I know it's not this, but immediately I think of the Fockers because his mom's name was Martha Focker.
No.
I have no clue whose mother's name is Martha.
Batman versus Superman. There's one scene in it.
Oh yeah,
There's one scene in it where the fight stops because both of their mothers are named Martha.
That's right.
That is, look, I am a massive superhero guy. I have a fucking Captain America shirt on right now. You have a Captain America tattoo. I have a Superman tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
That movie, I have never been in a movie where I'm like, how much time is left? I just want to get out of it. I just want the movie to end. Like, that's how bad that movie was. But
DC, I mean, granted, it's hard to compete with Marvel and Disney and all that they have to offer. But you and I grew up in comic books, and it was always a Marvel versus DC thing, right? Most people favored, one or the other. I was always more of a big Marvel guy. Some people like Superman. You were a big fan of Superman. You got a tattoo. But I think for the most part, you and I kind of like were open to everything. I know some people that are like, no, you're the DC or Marvel.
Yeah.
But DC never figured out the movie formula. And they were going there with Justice League and Aquaman and Flash and Wonder Woman. I mean, they were going in that direction of being able to master plan all these characters, having their own movies, and then coming together to form like an Avengers thing. And that's exactly what Justice League was in the DC universe. But man, they just couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, and then they had like Wonder Woman comes out, which I thought was phenomenal. I loved it. Wonder Woman 2 came out, which was fucking terrible. Like that was one of the worst movies I've seen in a long
You're talking about
time.
1984?
Yeah, 1984.
Yeah, I still
Wonder
haven't seen
Woman
that.
84. Don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, that's the thing is I heard such bad things about it that I have no desire to waste 2 to 3 hours of my life. And then the 4-hour Justice League just came out, and I know we've talked about this in the past. I don't think I there's so many other movies that I want to see right now because there's so much good content on all the streaming platforms that I don't want to lose 4 hours to see a movie that I didn't like potentially be a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's just not in there for me.
So yeah. Do you have any others? I have one more if you don't.
I don't.
All right. So the other one I have is Just Talking Bacon.
Just Talking Bacon. I mean,
it has nothing to do with Kevin Bacon. I'll take that off.
No, I know no. I mean, Talking Pigs, but I don't know, some sort of a Little Red Riding Hood or something like that. I have no idea.
The fact that you figured out Talking Pigs, the movie Babe, the movie with the pig that was talking.
Oh yeah, I don't think I would have got that. I know of the movie Babe, but I never actually watched it.
So welcome back.
Thank you.
Hope everybody enjoyed this podcast. Hopefully, like, subscribe, sign up, post.
Yeah, give us a like on social media. Send cash. Ironically, so my wife has her own podcast. I don't want to cross promote it, but she does have her own podcast, and they started doing merch, and with some success. Like they actually have like mugs and stuff like that, and other things. So it's actually kind of cool. We should consider that. I don't know if it's something that we want to spend time on, but I always thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, here's the other problem. Her podcast is more successful.
Well, her podcast is actually about something. Ours is not.
Ours is about everything and nothing.
This is one of those my favorite line from Seinfeld, from all the seasons of Seinfeld, was he was talking to some girl and she said, "Wow, I never knew a man that knew so much about nothing." Because that's all they talk about.
Yeah. All right. With that, I'm Michael Carter.
And I'm David Michael.
And we are Ridiculously Bored.